Hi. First of all, happy Thanksgiving to those of you that are also in the civilized part of North America. I hope you have a good day with family, eat lots of food, and all that stuff. I am personally very overwhelmed right now. I'm trying to squeeze in a video before having to run off for Thanksgiving dinner in between a whole bunch of other work things. A big part of the stress and overwhelmingness of right now is the fact that Voidbirth launches on GameFound tomorrow. So Voidbirth is my original RPG adventure set in an original world called Tenebris. I have put so much work into it. It is an absolute passion project. It's going to be a full hardcover book. There's minis, digital and physical. There's a whole soundtrack that I composed for it. And yeah, I'm really crossing my fingers that it does well. Just like personally, I've put so much like friggin' care and attention into it that if it doesn't do well, it'll feel bad. But also, I mean, realistically, between me and you, doing some of the publishing stuff and having it be successful is right now very crucial financially for this channel and this business. So link in the description, go check it out. If it interests you, please back it and grab yourself a copy. The studio is an absolute mess. I haven't had really any hobby time over the past couple days. I've just been stuck in the dungeon basement or working on the renovation, gearing up, trying to get a little bit closer to the studio move. There's not much to announce in terms of the actual studio build portion of things because I really have to finish the whole utility room, storage, laundry area first before I can really get into the nuts and bolts of the studio. I have made some progress. I started roughing in some electrical, but I only worked on it for like 30 minutes because I was just killing time waiting for the city to show up to shut off my water. So I have a whole bunch of plumbing that needed to be reworked. And I discovered quite a while ago that my main shutoff valve in the basement wasn't working. So I had actually like booked a plumber to change it and the city to come shut off the water. The city came to shut off the water and they couldn't because the shut off at the street was broken. So they had to schedule that to get fixed. And they did fix that, but I didn't get around to actually doing the rest of it until now when I'm trying to do this project. Now I wanted to avoid calling in a plumber if possible. So my thought was, hey, that shutoff valve doesn't work, but it kind of works. Like it didn't fully shut off the water. There was still a trickle, which would make like soldering and stuff difficult. But I'm like, hey, I could just close it and quickly cut in a compression fit valve, something that doesn't need to be sweat. And that would be great. But I realized that now my main shutoff valve was not working at all. So if I were to cut into that line, it would have been full pressure spraying out everywhere. So I called the city. They came, they shut off the water. Guy was really cool. He waited like the 10 minutes for me to cut out the pipe right after the meter and throw in a temporary shut off valve. Well, I guess it's not really temporary. It's staying there. And now I can actually shut off the water to the whole house. That's a big pain in the ass thing out of the way. I was able to clean up all the laundry room plumbing, redo the drain because it was just very, very wrong. I built a platform for the washer and dryer to sit on so it was nice and level. Got some paint thrown up quickly just on those areas so that I could put the washer and dryer on there. And I wanted to get that landing and the washer and dryer installed and good because I didn't want to have to move them again. I will eventually be painting the concrete floor and I didn't want to have to move things in and out. Now that little corner is set up and done and I can just continue on without having to move them again. I also repaired the cracks in the floor slab within the laundry room using some 2-part epoxy from Silka. It's really strong stuff. I still need to do some floor patch to smooth it out a bit and then I can paint it. And I have some very good news for myself and those that have been concerned about radon gas in the basement. So if you don't know what radon gas is, it is essentially radioactive gas that you can't smell, comes up from the ground. It exists everywhere and it is the leading cause of lung cancer in non-smokers. So it's like a pretty serious thing, and it's a good idea to test the radon levels in your home. Usually on your main floor or your second floor when you have a basement, it's pretty all right, but the basements will be where it can be very high, especially in the prairies where I live. Now, I had tested it many years ago, like a decade ago, and it was well within safe limits. Now that I'm going to be spending so much time down there, I definitely needed to test again and actually just monitor it long term. So I bought myself an electric radon meter that takes a daily reading and then also averages it out over time, because it's the averages that are really important. These readings fluctuate. Safe, quote unquote, safe levels range from a reading of like 100 and under or 200 and under. The Canadian government says that anything under 200 is safe and doesn't need mediation. So now I've only been monitoring it for several days, and you really need like a 90-day average to, be sure. But right now, October, moving into November and December is the best time to monitor because that's when the levels are usually highest in a home in northern climates. What I'm getting at is that my levels are low enough to feel safe. I haven't had a daily reading that's past 170. And I think right now, the last time I looked at it, the average was 140 something. So that falls well under the Canadian government's guideline and also even the radon meters one, which is like a little bit more conservative. And this is before I've sealed all the cracks in the basement that will help reduce it. And also something to keep in mind is that this is a gas, and one of the ways that you lower it is by ventilation. And once I have the studio downstairs, I will have my extraction fan and maybe even a second one, but I'll have one for my airbrush, and then probably a separate one for the 3D printer. So there's going to be a lot of air being drawn out of the basement while I work in there, which will keep those levels down. I will keep that monitor running long term, and then if it ever gets high, I will call in for remediation. Basically, if you have really high levels, you can get someone to come in and drill 2 pipes into the floor on each side of your basement and put a fan in that exhausts outside, and basically they just suck air from under your slab, basically trying to draw that gas out before it reaches your home. I don't have to worry about that, which is good because, that's a couple grand that I don't have to spend and some disruption that I don't need. So that's really good. So that's it for now. Tomorrow's Void Birth. Please go check it out.